Yet another Sunday evening, yet another live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast. We got episode 47 coming your way. We're going to hang out with you a little bit before and after. We're going to talk about fall camp, fan day, and of course, good old Auburn potpourri all coming up right now. War Eagle Auburn family and War Eagle E2C Network family, thank you so much for joining us for this live recording. I am your host, Kyle Loomis, alongside Austin Scott. Welcome back, Austin.
Thank you. Welcome back to you too, I guess, on Sunday night.
Been a rough Sunday, buddy.
It's been just all this heat is getting to me. All these heat advisories, and it's all messing my head. No, it's been a great weekend. War Eagle to you, and looking forward to getting into it.
Yes, we will definitely get into it here in about 5 minutes. So as you come into the stream, if you're watching live, as you come in, if you're watching on the replay, do us a favor by making sure you smash the like button if you feel like we've earned that from you. But also go ahead and check in with us in the live chat or in the comment section if you're watching on the replay. Let us know where you're watching from, your city, state, international, and we can take some early comments here as we kind of wait for our crew to gather. And then we'll start our live recording session. Yes, it has been hot, has been stormy, and so much was the case. Actually, I was worried we weren't going to be able to have a good connection here because of lightning flashing and striking all around us. We even had a couple of flickers here and there, but it seems like it has passed for the time being. And it definitely is something that's we might mention here in potpourri or in discussions about fall camp, because it is definitely affecting the football team in more ways than one, whether it's the heat, whether it's the rain. I was told, Austin, that the field, they nearly didn't go out there on the scrimmage and actually scrimmage out in the field because of the conditions of everything right now, which you should know better than anybody because you live there.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. I actually saw they weren't going to, and then the clips I saw later I was like, that's the stadium. But it wouldn't surprise me because it is incredibly hot. It's been ridiculous the last few days, in the southeast and especially down in you and I both's areas. And so I cut the grass with my brother-in-law yesterday. We came back in just absolutely drenched. It wasn't even 11 a.m. yet, and it was just it's been bad. And then you throw some summer storms on top of that, and whoo, it's definitely early August, which is okay. I guess it's summer then.
Yeah, I was about to say, you want to start having this debate again on this show. I will just tell you, and we'll talk about fan day and me being there, but I literally walked from the former practice facility, leaving fan day, no more than 5 minutes out there to the parking deck by the baseball stadium, and I was soaked. And look, folks, let me just go ahead and say this, everybody. I've got a degree in biology and a science-based degree, so I feel like I can say this with some authority. This whole notion that this is unprecedented. This is not unprecedented. This is just the South. We go through these cycles. I remember about 4 years ago, we had I think it was averaged in 2 weeks, 95. That was the base temp. That's not even like the indexed heat with all the humidity and stuff. Like we may reach that point by the time kickoff happens, but just everybody calm down with this is unprecedented. Never before we've seen this heat. If you go back to the 1930s, you'll see that it was much worse.
There it is.
You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming.
I know exactly where that's coming from too.
Anyway, so thank you guys so much for letting me get on my soapbox for a second. Austin stirred me on, so you can just let me do that. Hey. So Noah's here. Good to see you. Joe, Devin, David Franks, another Noah Baguette on Facebook, Thomas Manville, a lot of good folks already assembling here. So let us know if you're here, if you can. We'd love to talk to you guys. Thomas says it was 104 at 10 a.m. at work today, 96% humidity. Woo, that is womb.
Nope, that's not fun for anybody.
Folks, if you're coming to game day, just be ready. Remember, this is a midday game, which means you will not get sweet relief from that sun in that stadium until basically the end of the third. Well, maybe the beginning of the third quarter, depending on what side of the stadium you're on. It's going to be rough, folks. It is.
It's going to be really rough.
But it's going to be fun.
Typically where I am, I don't see it until beginning of fourth or mid fourth. And so I'm prepping now.
Yes, everybody just go outside and start acclimating yourself to the heat and having, just a constant state of sweat. And y'all just be thinking of me as I go around campus all day doing what I normally do, hoofing. Just know that if you see me passed out like off to the side, it's not because I had one too many. That's not my thing. Because I had one too many moments of the heat. So that was what you should be watching for. So if you find me over there, pick me up and maybe like give me a drink of water or something like that. Could be tough for me. Let's see if we've got Miss Dixie. I met Miss Dixie at the Fan Day event. So good to see.
Oh yeah.
I think yes. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dixie, but I believe this is you. I think this is you. Been working move-ins all week and baking. And let's see, we got WT already checking in. I had the opportunity, and I will talk about this a little bit more, but got to meet a few people at Fan Day, which was really nice.
Well, that's awesome.
Experience everything there. And obviously, we want to talk about fall camp a little bit too. So we have got a lot on tap tonight. And if you are ready, we can go ahead and get started, sir.
I'm ready to go.
All right. As a reminder, folks, we may not be taking a lot of comments and questions during this part of the show for the next 30 minutes. 3 10-minute-ish segments. Auburn potpourri to start with, a little bit of fall camp catch up, and then we will discuss Fan Day and everything that I did during my visit to Auburn, which more stuff beyond Fan Day, but we'll discuss that too. Stick around after the show. I'll be hanging out to talk with you for a little bit, and then we'll get out of here. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. Whether that is random engagements that certain podcast hosts unexpectedly get in on, in the background at least, whether that's somebody across the country with shakers just adorning every back portion of their rear view of the car that they're in, whether that's a quarterback race or however you'd like to qualify it, at its core, at its heart, the Auburn experience is all about its sports, its culture, and the Auburn family. And because it is about the Auburn family, we have to have family members here to discuss it. I am your host, Kyle Loomis, and back in saddle with me, Mr. Austin Scott. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Kyle. War Eagle to you. Let's hope this episode's as hot as the weather's been lately. I know you got a first-hand experience of that, but
just a little bit.
I think if we can get off to that hot of a start, then we'll be just fine.
How many puns about heat and being on fire could you throw in? I mean, maybe
now you've thrown down a challenge, so we'll just see.
Like a spark of insanity to go with not insanity, but of genius to go with the lightning that's striking along with the heat, all that kind of, which apparently there's no such thing as heat lightning, according to James Spann, is what I'm told. So if you are still subscribing to that, apparently that's incorrect. We're not here to discuss exactly the weather, but I'm sure we will mention it a few times. We are here to discuss the Auburn experience. Episode 47. Have you done your homework, Mr. Scott?
Oh man, right off the bat, throwing me on to the
fire.
To the fire. I was trying to get there.
I got there for you.
Yeah, so a couple good ones here. One that I was like, I think I'm going to use that, but I don't know if I can justify it since he changed numbers. But number 47 for Auburn football, record-setting tight end John Samuel Schenker.
Yes.
Although he did change to number 25, I think.
That's
correct. That right, Kyle?
That's
last year for his senior year.
That's
however, Mr. Tommy Sheehan, the former Auburn baseball pitcher,
love it.
Number 47, pitched for the Tigers in the 2021 College World Series. So we got to love that.
I feel like I always say this every week, but I feel like there's another one out there that we're forgetting, which you can all tell us on social media. So just, let me or Austin know. We'll give you the contact information at the end of the show. If you've got somebody that we should have called in any sport, or if you can correlate the number 47 in any way that we should dedicate this episode to posthumously. Is that how you say it?
Posthumously.
Wow.
Careful.
Wow. Wow. This almost got off the rails at the very start of the show. All right. Before we go much further and, go too further into the fire, there it is again. Auburn Potpourri, I want to try to get through as many of these things as we can, but we probably will not. So let me go ahead and start us right off at the top. I know one of the more prominent things on people's mind is yet another good recruiting weekend for Auburn football. Brand new commitment, TJ Lindsey across the defensive line, the second of this cycle for the 2024 class. We've done a video with all the information that you need to know about him, but let's give some reaction here. Mr. Scott, what you got about TJ Lindsey being an Auburn Tiger?
Yeah, another blue chip guy that this staff has pulled off. Despite the heat, still sounds like there's a freeze warning, Kyle. And so they're TJ Lindsey, a defensive lineman who plays at IMG, but from the Midwest area. Auburn was able to fight off the likes of Texas and Texas A&M for him, and sounds super exciting. It's just I feel like we talk about a recruit every week at this point on our episodes, and the momentum just keeps building.
Yes, it definitely does. And just the amount of defensive guys that have been brought in such a sequence throughout this summer period has been very intriguing to see. And we're getting some great offensive guys as well. But just seeing how successful that's been in the summer has been interesting to watch. So another great addition that we're really excited to have here. And yes, he will kind of signal away what we hope is some others in following weeks and weekends. Probably, I believe there's another one we'll be watching this coming Saturday that may or may not commit to the Tigers. We will watch eagerly. But for this one, Mr. TJ Lindsey, we are happy to have you and excited to have you as part of this Auburn family. On that note, let's discuss the bad side of recruiting. We all sat on social media, literally smashing the refresh button every second we got on a Saturday evening, waiting for probably what would have been the highest ranked recruit probably ever for Auburn basketball, Flory Badunga. Believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Not only did he break the hearts of Duke basketball fans by making it seem like he was going to go to Auburn, he, in the 11th hour, apparently switched over to the Kansas Jayhawks and did not commit to the Auburn Tigers. A heartbreaker, Austin. Were you shocked? Reactions to that news?
A little shocked. It certainly seemed like, all the, whatever you want to call them, crystal balls, predictions, things of people who pay attention to this much more than we do, were rolling in for Auburn over the last week. And so, I think this game that he was committing at was part of some All-American thing and was delayed. And I just happened to flip over to it at literally the exact time they said, we're going to go to Flory Badunga for his college announcement. And I was like, well, this could not have been better timing. And obviously he puts on the Kansas hat. So yeah,
what I'm hearing here is you are at fault because he, like that correlation, it's hard to ignore there. You tune in and then all of a sudden he goes to the wrong school. That's what I'm hearing.
Sure. Whatever.
Okay. I'm trying to cope with what I had to deal with. It's not like I had a video ready to roll the second he committed. It's not like I spent the morning getting notes together. Nothing like that happened. No way would a guy with a YouTube channel ever do something like that.
The biggest loser in all this is that we don't get to say Badunga Dunks. I wanted to say that Flory would have Badunga Dunks for the Bruce Pearl and the Auburn Tigers, and he won't. You talk about NIL opportunities. It's like the Dunkaroos cereal that Walker Kessler was on the box. We could have made our own cereal, the Badunga Dunks, and Flory would be there on the side with the face. Badunga Dunks. There's still hope, Flory. This is my last minute recruiting pitch. You want cereal? They don't have cereal in Kansas.
This is one of those moments.
You can have Badunga Dunks in Auburn, Alabama.
I really don't like the amount that Badunga Dunks is coming out of your mouth right now. So we're just going to leave it at that.
Can't you hear Andy? I can hear Andy right now with Coach Sonny Smith. Woo, that's a Badunga Dunk. I hear Coach right now.
I feel like I've lost this show at this point.
You would like Badunga Dunks, Kyle.
Oh, I'm not saying I wouldn't like it, but I'm trying to, keep this PG right here because I'm just
all part of a healthy breakfast.
I am simply trying my best to behave and be a mature adult man at this point. All right, let's keep going about all of the Auburn Potpourri stuff that we've got to discuss tonight. The Auburn Bass Fishing Team has won another national championship, the College National Championship run by Bassmasters. We just win national championships basically in everything these days. And when's the last time, Austin, that we had the Bass team win one? It wasn't too long ago, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't long ago. It might have been, fishing is one of those things, kind of like golf and tennis, where individuals can do well as opposed to the whole team. And so I think that definitely fishing has been one of those. But it's been recently. I know it's been when my brother was in college because he had a roommate who was on the team, and we talked about it. But yeah, that team's certainly a thing that is somewhat of a dynasty that has stayed consistently successful. So they've been on fire here for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of those cases where when we say we're an everything school, we truly are, because it's not just the fact that we're celebrating, going to a Final Four, a national championship in football. We celebrate national championships in equestrian and in bass fishing, which isn't even an NCAA sanctioned team for us. It's a club team, essentially. Not to say that's any
Right.
less important, but it's not even on the scope and scale of something like football. And we're following it and talking about it because guess what? It's part of the Auburn experience. Let me just run through these really briefly. It is nearly officially the start of the fall sports season because we've had preseason events. Women's basketball has been very successful over there in Europe with their tour over there. They've got one more game left. They are undefeated at this point. They'll be playing, I think it's essentially the France All-Stars in this last game, which could be quite a challenge if it correlates to the men's basketball structure of how the opponents that they played. Soccer has tied two of their exhibition games, and now will play their first game this Thursday. Speaking of things starting, school is starting this week, Austin. So move-in day, one of the things I got to see when I was on campus this weekend was just the sheer crowds there for fan day, but specifically for move-in day. Do you have fond recollections of moving in and the excitement of that day?
Yeah, no, I actually was looking at pictures today because I moved in today, 9 years ago.
Like to the date you were
To
moving
the
in.
day. This day I was spending, as of this hour, I was in my dorm room preparing for my first night away from home in Eagle. Don't know what it's called now, but they changed the name. Eagle Hall. I had a great. We'll have to talk about that another time. But I had the handicap room. Nobody
Oh,
like they didn't have any other. So I had a great view of the stadium, and it was great. But yeah, 9 years ago today, I moved into Auburn University's campus.
well, I moved in whatever day it was. I can't remember, but I just remember the sheer excitement that I had that I was finally here in what I always felt like was home. So much so that I literally just sat in my apartment that night because I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, I
Yeah.
waited so long to get here, the excitement of the move-in day, and now I'm here. I'm a tiger. Like I am living the dream, and didn't know what to do with myself, frankly. So excited for everybody who is now beginning their
That's
Auburn
right.
experience as a student. Lastly, let's hit this thing because I do want to mention it. Megan Schofield, as we speak right now, I don't know if it's going over tomorrow or if they're finishing it up tonight. An Auburn golfer is competing in the Women's U.S. Amateurs Championship right now. And last we checked, as of talking about it this moment, she was in the lead. So we could have yet another exciting thing to be talking about in the Auburn experience. It's not often you and I get to talk about golf. So hopefully when we get back together, we'll talk about maybe, her winning this event.
Absolutely. That'd be super exciting, and another area where Auburn's on the stage, front and center. That's always a good thing.
Yes, it is. Definitely one of those opportunities where we can celebrate the whole of the Auburn experience, as we love to say here. I think that's going to do it for Auburn Potpourri. That was a lot to squeeze in there, and we didn't even really get all the things that we needed to discuss, but that'll have to do for this week. Coming up for you, we've got a little bit of fall camp discussion. Right after that, we're going to talk about Fan Day and everything that I experienced when I came there for that event in our big two segments of this episode of the Auburn Experience. Big topic number one tonight. Let's talk about fall camp. It is what consumes us all this time of year because we have been waiting to just talk about things since the summer began. And we are now about barely 2 weeks in. Technically, we started on a Thursday with practices, so it's really only a week and a half, but we'll just call it week 2. A lot happened in week 2 in terms of new things to discuss. We start kind of getting some insights maybe into how things are going. There's definitely an update we can talk about with Jarquez, quarterback race, maybe how some positions are filling out, or just maybe what our kind of guts telling us about this. So let's take a few minutes, Austin, and talk about what we have been hearing, what we have been maybe seeing about week 2 practice for Auburn fall camp. So I'll give you the floor first, sir.
Sure. Yeah. Jarquez Hunter back. I think that's big news, as we've talked about before. But I think everyone was looking forward to this scrimmage this past weekend,
Yep.
or this yesterday, I guess. Um, and kind of what that would tell about the quarterback race, what that would tell about how the defense is doing, how the offensive line's doing, all the things. I think that the thing that surprised me the most is from what it sounded like, all the running backs had a good day. We've all been consumed with Jarquez Hunter. Is he going to be back? Is he going to be suspended for some kind of amount of game time? What is that quarterback or running back room, going to look like when it gets down to the season? And I think you have to walk away after some confidence. I know it's scrimmage, but after some confidence with Damari Austin having supposedly a good day with some good runs. Brian Batty, we're going to figure that out one day.
Body.
Thank you. Like Bada get a body.
Well,
Brian Body.
not quite, but close enough.
Well,
I'll give it to you. If that's what gets you there, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, don't mess with the mojo. And Brian Body seemingly having a good day. And so I think you have to feel a little reassured that obviously we want Jarquez Hunter. He is an elite talent, at a top of the conference talent that we want on the football field playing for us. But I was a little more reassured after seeing some of the notes about how well the running backs did.
Yeah, and just on that note, obviously he made his return this week to practice, which was a big deal at that point when that all started happening. There's not been a lot of overly done commentary from coaches or players. Most of the time that they've had the opportunity to be asked or talked about it, they're just saying thankful he's back and he's such a great player. I did love the comment by Tate Johnson in one of his interviews. He said, or was it him, or I may be misquoting? I think it was Tate Johnson. Either way, it was one of the players said, you go play pickup basketball, you're going to want Michael Jordan out there. Or if Michael Jordan's out there, you're going to pick him up. And so kind of equating that, look, we know that Jarquez is this great talent and we need him out there, but we've also got some great other players at that position and beyond that are going to make this team successful. I think you broke that down very beautifully there. Running back room is just solid. But I've been talking about this personally. I know you have too, others have, how strong this running back room is as a whole. And yes, does it suck if you lose one of those guys from that unit? We don't know that that's going to happen at this point. He only missed a few days of practice. This is a room that's full of talent, variety of guys who do different things well. I think we can be very talented in the running game, especially if that offensive line is a much better unit this year.
Right.
Any feelings from what you've been seeing, hearing about offensive line play? Is that more encouraging?
I'm encouraged because of the learning experience that's there, but I'm also encouraged because of the transfer that have come in. But as I think you and I have talked about, I know privately, but also on the show before, that unit has to work as one, right? And so it's all about how well they're working together, getting to know each other, and figuring out the five that you need. They're going to be your core starter guys that can, pave the way for whatever you want to do on offense. So I'm encouraged. I think that that's going well. It's not, I think I would have said last year and even probably the year before, maybe the year before that it was my number one concern going into the season.
Right.
I don't feel that's the case right now. And so I'm hoping that I'm right about that, but we'll have to see. I mean, I think we felt good about offensive lines in the past, and sometimes they just get out there and it doesn't work. But that has to work, and that has to be, option A for this Auburn offense to get where it wants to go.
Let's talk about what everybody wants to discuss. They're screaming at us for not talking about it yet.
The kickers.
That's it. How great is Alex McPherson? How great is the Wanda from Down Under, Oscar Chapman? By the way, at Fan Day, I know we keep referencing we're going to talk about it. We are. Reed Hughes did a run-in with Reed. I guess hasn't come out yet, but I literally thought for a second he was about to run over and stick. Well, I just thought he came running in my direction, but he was going somewhere else. I thought he was about to stick it in front of my face. I was like, well, that's awkward, So I don't want to be on Running with Reed, but it didn't happen. So I am still, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. What a weird saying for me. So where was I going with that? Honestly, I can't even.
We were going to the quarterback race and we ended with you being a bridesmaid, but we'll go to the quarterback race first.
This podcast has gone some places, man.
We are way out.
It's the heat. Okay. Quarterback race. Obviously, when we started fall camp, we got the idea from Coach Hugh Freeze, that there might be at least something to talk about after the first scrimmage. Maybe a paring down to 2 of the main 3 in the race. Coach Hugh Freeze, after the scrimmage, did say that he came into that practice with a possibility of having it narrowed down. Now, I don't know exactly, and you and I were discussing this pre-show, whether he meant down to 2 or down to 1. But what he did say is post-practice, post that scrimmage, that completely changed. So interpret that how you will for you, the listener, the viewer. What do you interpret into that post-scrimmage, Austin?
Yeah, I was going to go ahead and find the exact quote, but yes, he said yesterday, speaking yesterday on Saturday, he's talking about Friday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I had my mind made up, and after today, the scrimmage, I need to watch the film before I say. Like you said, not really sure, was that QB1 or was it narrowing it down like he's been referring he would like to have here with a couple more weeks to go. I think I'm of the opinion he was talking about narrowing it down. So to me, that says that all 3 had a decently good day,
Mhm.
and that, I think a lot of us have been thinking that this is going to be narrowed down to Peyton Thorne and Robbie Ashford. So to me, Kyle, it sounds like Holden Geriner is playing well enough to not publicly, at least, be narrowed down to 2 of any of them. And so I think that you have to be reassured by that. To me, it doesn't give off the vibe that this is no one stepping up and no one's playing well enough that we're all still just at the bottom. No one's really running with it. It feels like they're all kind of evenly working up right now. Maybe not as fast as we'd like, but working up together
Right.
to where no one's pulling apart and just blowing everybody away. So I think that's good. I haven't really leaned one way or another about which quarterback I'm hopeful, or obviously the cliche answer is I just want the one that's going to help Auburn win. I think that that's what anyone would tell you.
Nope, don't want that at all. I want the worst one out there. In fact, why don't they throw me out there just so that we can say that, that's the thing.
What a sight that would be. What a
Oh,
podcast that would be to
one pod
unpack the
live
after.
from the pocket behind who's going to be the center, Avery Jones, I guess.
So I don't know. I think that this is carried on a little while. I think it is going to narrow down. I'm not really sure if. Well, he said that he was ready to come in and say something, so I guess he might narrow it down publicly.
Maybe by
I
the
don't
time you're
know.
listening.
Maybe so. But what are your thoughts on it, Kyle? As far as what he was meaning, where it's headed, where we're at right now.
I think it's easy to make the case that Holden is the one that's made this harder
I
to
do.
make a decision on. I think that's the easy case to make, and sometimes the path of least resistance is the correct path. Sometimes. Now, it could have been the reverse of that. It could have been Holden and Robbie, and maybe Peyton kind of all of a sudden, woke up. He is, by the way, still the newest guy in the quarterback room there. He's
Correct.
had a lot more to catch up on. He's been a very diligent student of this offense, as Coach Freeze has talked about a lot, and his offensive coordinator. So to me, I'm going to lean that way, that Holden is the one that has made this really, really interesting. You got to be encouraged by that, similar to what we were talking about with the running back room, where everybody's focused on this one guy, maybe 2 guys in this case. You forget that you might actually have a lot more options than you actually thought you did. So that's what I interpret into it. Hopefully by the time you're listening, maybe even, or if you've gone back and watched the replay on this, you might even know the answer, whether that's a paring down to 2 or maybe naming someone. I love that I kind of like that it's taken this long, frankly.
Yeah, I think my thing that I've seen a lot of, that whether people have a particular what's the word?
Leaning.
Leaning, thank you, that they would like it to go, is that, which in true Auburn fandom fashion, of course, the dramatics are on either side. But if it's not Thorne, then oh my goodness, why do we bring him in? If it's Robbie, it's oh my gosh, we're only going off of what we saw last year. And Kyle, no one can improve ever. It's all
Ever.
exactly how
No
you
one
are
can
forever
ever
and ever and
grow.
ever.
Yep.
No, once you throw one ball the one way, it's like that forever. Um, I think that that's something that we all just have to really, which is hard for us as Auburn fans, I recognize, to take the coaches at what they say and to take the coaches at what they believe. I don't think they're actively trying to lose. Sometimes, on the contrary, that seems different. But I think that when we look at if it is Robbie, which I feel like that's where I see the most rising up or anger is like, oh my gosh, if it's Robbie, all right, immediate 5-7. We we all talked about what Robbie could be when Hugh Freeze was hired. It's like, okay, Robbie's kind of the raw athlete he's worked with before. So if it's him or if it's Holden or if it's Peyton Thorne, I think we can be assured that this is the right guy for the job. And I don't think Coach Freeze has really ever said that it will be one guy the whole way.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week. He's making sure that this, whoever's quarterback one, it might not be a bona fide starter going forward. We got to evaluate it throughout the year. So it's a long road. It's going to be a long road, but
yeah,
certainly an interesting development.
And kind of just some final thoughts on practice. As you can imagine, we've talked and joked about the heat and the weather and stuff that's wreaked havoc with practice schedule. But even just beyond the heat, we've reached that point in fall practice where the bumps and the bruises are starting to rise up on some players. And there's been some people that have been limited. I don't have that full list in front of me. He talked about a few of them today. Nothing sounds like it's super major, but some of the things that you typically hear, someone's been very limited because they had this issue or things like that. And he said the heat has really affected the players, but they're going to be playing in it. So obviously you got to get them used to it. And I appreciate that they're doing their best to prepare them for the elements that will be Jordan Hare at 2:30 kickoff on a Saturday, September 3rd, which is not the fall, Austin, as we discussed.
September. We'll not have that conversation.
You almost opened that box up there.
I almost did.
For another clip for this week. Either way, that's our little summary of what's been going on in fall camp. Obviously, we'll probably have some more discussions to talk about next week as we get closer and closer to the season. Topic number 2 tonight, let's talk about Fan Day. Not only was it Fan Day, it was a great day to be in Auburn, although it was very warm, as we've said ad nauseum already. I had a great day there, very quick trip for myself, went down late morning here, got there about lunchtime and stopped in to kind of see the sights. Obviously got to go see Sanford Hall and hear the bells chime and walk around downtown. Big, busy day, moving day, as we talked about in the Auburn Potpourri segment of this episode. I'll come back to maybe some other experiences that I had on the tail end of this, since it's kind of here's what we saw and what we kind of experienced when we were in Auburn. Let's talk about Fan Day. I was there. You were not there, but you obviously could follow what was going on social media. The big thing that you and I discussed previously is how great it's back to its original format. The autograph signing, while I did see some merit in doing the whole open practice thing, it never felt like a true Fan Day, more just to come and see the team, do their warm-ups and a few drills and things like that. Maybe a halfway scrimmage kind of thing. While that's cool, people know this concept of Fan Day. So I know you were excited as well to see that kind of come back.
Yeah. And I'm already getting that feeling. Like, we're less than 3 weeks at this recording until the season. But Fan Day is one of those things that in the past historically has been like, okay, we're really almost there. Like, we are knocking down the door on especially the fall semester, but football season. And so I was happy to see it back at its format, if for nothing else, which we're going to keep talking about the heat. And I'm sorry if that's repetitive. If nothing else, then to get indoors and get in there and just sign some autographs and not stay outside.
Yes. And can I just tell you folks that that AC in that practice facility, the former practice facility, is beautiful. Like,
it's pumping.
Especially on that day. So let me give you kind of the layout about how this was for those of you that weren't able to go. Hopefully, actually, by this time it'll probably be a day or so after you're hearing and watching this, depending on when you found this episode. I'll have a video up of our highlights from me being there, and you can kind of see what it was like, what the experience was like. Outdoor area for some kids to have some fun and some inflatables and stuff. It's the typical ones you usually see at these type of events. Now, surprisingly, at the end of the event, wow, was that field just covered up with kids running around. I'm like, how are they not passing out? Just having a ball out there. And you can think about how awesome that is for kids to just go out and run around on a practice field,
Okay, so this was the outdoor practice field where they had those. I'm trying to envision this in
So
my head.
the old practice facility with the indoor and then the outdoor next to it, and
Correct.
the field house is in between, is on the other side. So outdoor field, indoor field, and then the field house, which has got some other equipment and stuff in
So
there.
kids were running around outside
Yeah, that's
inside
where
the
the
field.
inflatables were and all that kind of
Gotcha.
stuff. Not at the beginning. Everybody was rushing to their autographs, as you might imagine.
Mm,
It was, very busy. They did the first hour, and this was a little bit controversial, I think, for some people. Maybe not controversial, not the right word, but normally the whole event's 2 hours. At least I remember it that way in the past. It's been a while since they actually did it this way. First hour now is on to victory, folks. And boy, was it already packed when people got there. I came in with the general public.
what does that mean? On to victory, folks.
On to victory, folks got to go in an hour early to get in line for
Oh,
autographs. I'm
like if
sorry.
you're a
Yes.
paying subscriber.
Yes, you got in. And
Oh,
so you needed to be in there because if you were trying to get in Hugh Freeze's line, boy, were you going to be waiting in the line. It's always the longest line, but
sure.
and he was moving fast, being very nice and very cordial with everybody because I kind of went off the side just to kind of see how everything was running and things like that, signing the photos and getting up and taking pictures and things like that. They had everybody divided into groups. Actually, there was no like singular quarterbacks area, but it was like quarterback, special teams, and tight ends or something like that. Then it was like defensive backs were one because they're such a large group. Wide receivers were their own thing, so on and so forth. You go around and get in line in these little stanchions and get everybody to go down a line and sign your autographs.
Sure.
Pro tip for everybody: if you want to ensure that you get everybody that's available to get autographs, you need to get there early because I did notice that because of certain obligations, certain players did have to leave the tables early. And so I don't want somebody to go planning to get the entire wide receiver core and someone had to step away for whatever reason. There's just obviously there's reasons.
It's a long time. Yeah.
It is. It is definitely a long time. So what I don't want people to walk away from is being disappointed about their experience there. Obviously, the cheerleaders, the Tiger Paws were there for a pep rally. The Raptors were there. Good old Aubie was there, just having a ball. So everything that you would expect, it went off great. Managed very well. Just
Good.
very, very busy. What are some things that maybe you saw following on social media? And I can kind of share any other experiences I had too.
Sure. I saw some pictures, obviously from the E2C Network account of how it was kind of laid out. Saw some pictures people posted of their own pictures with players or pictures with the Raptors. And I did see lots of people talking about Coach Freeze's line.
Yes.
So what can you give me any kind of estimation of a number at its peak or at its height?
I think someone said at one point they had been in the line about 45 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty long. Now, I think that was probably right when the general public collided with the On to Victory people who were already in line. Because like I said, this was very well managed, very proficient getting people and also not like get out of the, get your thing, get out of the line. It was, they took their time as much as they could. Coach Hugh Freeze, obviously taking pictures with folks. So that was managed well, but boy, you needed to be there.
Was this like a line like from Coach Freeze's table straight back?
No, all stanchions wrapping back and forth. And they would
Okay.
move the stanchions as they needed to, either forward or back to accommodate all of that's going on.
Fascinating.
What I always love at these events is the other personalities from Auburn that are there to hang out.
Yeah.
Jason Campbell was just walking around, our
There you
new
go.
our commentator with Andy Burcham, just obviously Auburn great, walking around, hanging out with people, taking autographs, and it's nice to see it. That I think to me, seeing the Jason Campbells at these events, even though now he's kind of obligated to be because he's part of the radio team,
Sure.
it's such a cool thing because that's my childhood, to see them just being part of the family and not just an athlete that went here at one time. So, that was cool. I saw running with Reed Hughes, who's been doing all the social media videos, go running around to different people and getting clips. So we'll watch that when it comes out a while here. Apparently, Coach Hugh Freeze stayed late as well for people. So that tells you how long the line continued to be. Did you have something?
I have two questions for you.
Yeah.
One, Did you see Cadillac and did you fangirl?
I did not see Caddy.
Oh,
No.
I'm glad you're just now realizing that. We might have had a security issue.
I feel like a failure. I
It's
really
okay.
feel
I'm
what
sure you
what
had
did
some other things to do, and
I need to go apologize to his signed picture over there. My goodness.
you do. My second question is: was there anything absolutely, I don't want to say crazy, but out there that someone wanted signed? Was
So
there a unique item?
that's a great question because I should have paid attention to more of these things. And I think my hesitation with this year of not doing some of those nuanced things because I didn't know if this was going to be the event that we always knew it was going to be. So I just kind of went in
Uh-huh.
blind. But next year, maybe I will remember to look for those crazy things. Someone had
Okay.
like this circular, it almost looked like a wall plaque that they were getting players to sign, but it
Interesting.
looked almost like a coat of arms or something
Oh,
like that. But it was circular. I don't know. That was the main thing. I saw some helmets. I saw football, obviously the
sure.
posters. Um, yeah, that's the main. Some T-shirts, I'm sure, and hats were getting signed. But that like wall plaque, was the bit.
Interesting.
We didn't see any Tide boxes getting signed like it's
Of
another
course not.
event. The running of the Bubbas, as we call that. This is definitely a little bit more high class event than over there in Tuscaloosa, where they only run about as fast as how many teeth they have left in their mouth towards their Lord and Savior Nick Saban. I know that was probably a step too far there, but I said it, and this has been a crazy episode anyway.
We're cutting it close here, I think, on our time.
We are. So all in all, great event. I will say, I wanted to say this just because of the day it was. If you've not been to Little Italy lately, I went to Little Italy
There
while I
you
was
go.
there. Man, boy, is that some good pizza and a nice little place. So, and lastly, I did happen to photobomb, unfortunately, or video bomb, I think, someone's engagement on Sanford Lawn.
Oh no.
If you go and look at the E2C
Oh
Network account and see the
no.
chiming video, you probably can't see them, but just know there's something happening very close to me, and I didn't realize it until it was too late. So
Have you looked for any pictures of this engagement yet to see if
I,
your E2C Network shirt is in between this man and his fiance?
if I hadn't been so embarrassed, I would have gone to ask if I could like take their picture and share because this is cool. That's the cool moment of the Auburn
It's
experience,
very cool.
But yeah, so I apparently
Oh
photobombed
boy.
some. Yeah, I'm
Oh
sorry.
boy.
I'm sorry. I did not represent us well in many ways. Didn't see
I'm
Cadillac, nothing.
I'm gonna look for a picture. I'm gonna look for.
You should.
I'm gonna try and find us because
S-
I'm sure they love to remember the E2C Network forever.
Yeah. So anyway, so check out for photos of that apparently, but photos and a highlight reel on our YouTube channel of the Fan Day event. You'll see some interesting things on there, and looking forward to another Fan Day coming back in another year. That's going to do it for this episode of the Auburn Experience podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, being with us and our crazy selves from time to time. If you want to follow me on social media, you can find me at Kyle Loomis 24 on X. Still weird to say it. And then you can follow E2C Network anywhere, literally anywhere. If it's not somewhere you want it, let me know. I might put it there. We'll see. Where can they find you?
Austin G. Scott on just about all the social media platforms. Kyle, I'd say this episode was a badungadunk.
I don't know how to end the episode after that. So all I'll say is thank you guys for listening, and War Eagle. All right. That was an interesting way to
one.
that was something.
I'm happy with that one.
Between Badungadunks and me slandering the Alabama faithful,
Run
but
of the Gumps.
the running of the Gumps. Austin, any final thoughts before you head out, sir? I was going to hang out with these fine folks, but I'll give you the floor if you got anything you want to say.
I don't think so. School starts this week for Auburn University, so it has been how long? 5 years since I was in class. So best of luck to all those starting your freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, or little victory lap.
Yeah. Victory laps are always the fun ones, especially those
That's right.
extended victory laps like somebody took here in the seat.
You just get a couple more football seasons in, you'll be all right.
I mean, I did graduate officially on the championship year. That's all I was planning on. I knew it was coming at that point.
So we need somebody to pay for Kyle to go back and get his doctorate.
I literally used to make that joke all the time. I was like, because here I graduated high school, we go undefeated and should have been playing for the national title. I graduate from college, we win the national title. So I'm just saying, folks, if somebody wants me to go to how bad do you want a national championship? If you want it that bad, you will pay Kyle's way to come back to school at Auburn. I'm just saying.
Which, look, people have paid more for crazier things. So, I mean, I think a master's and a doctorate for a couple natties, that sounds like a good deal to me. On to victory. Sign him up.
That's right. I got my own on to victory going on in here. Get Kyle to school so we can win a natty.
Maybe Kyle can be on the front of a Badungadunk cereal box.
I'm like, get out of here. Just get out. No, get out.
Have a great week, everybody. War Eagle.
War Eagle. Thanks for being here. All right, folks. Hang around for a few minutes as the storm kicks up a little bit. So hopefully everything sounds good. Let me know if we have any quality issues on that, other than us talking about Badungadunks the entire time. Wow, that was a weird one. I want to know your thoughts, your comments. We've got a few minutes left to hang out, and I'd love to hit some of the things that you guys discuss during the stream, and then we'll come back around to anything that you guys are talking about. Now, let me do this first. Go ahead and get your questions and comments queued up. I want to make you aware of what's coming up next at E2C Network as I get everything ready here behind the scenes. I think I got it. There we go. The things that you need to know about coming up next for E2C is our next scheduled live stream, which will be this Wednesday, a call-in show, the Auburn Family Night show. Anything you want to discuss, it's on the table. I'm sure we'll get plenty of updates before that time, so you don't want to miss it. Tell a friend, invite them. If you'll stay to the end of this stream, it'll take you directly over to that watch link show or page on YouTube, and then you can go ahead and smash the like button and hit that notify me bell. I know if it seems like you're subscribed, you shouldn't have to do that. YouTube's weird. It'll reward us if you can do that for us. So please do that if you can. We are so close to 4,000 subscribers. The moment it ends, the moment I see it, that will end it. No other subscribers or commenters will count towards that. So if you have not subscribed, you need to do that. That giveaway instructions and videos are in the description link. Very close to that momentous marker there. Become a channel member here. It's got a new title and stuff that's been changing. If you are a current channel member, check your perks. There's things that you want to be taken care of. And what was formerly known as the Booster Club. Haven't announced what that is yet publicly, but patreon.com is where you want to go to get involved and help support us here at E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. Let's hit what y'all want to talk about. Tyler, of course. I don't think your comments during the show escape me, sir. Tyler is a good friend of the family, so he likes to mess with me during streams sometimes. Will there be a live stream and a call-in show for the wedding you photobombed? That would be great. I want to talk about covering the Auburn experience. I'll just go. Let's just go to the wedding. Yes, I saw this come across, Corey. I don't know if you remember him or not, vaguely. Shriver, his wife, tried to do a mafia hit on him a couple of weeks ago. She's being held in the Bahamas. I thought they were already back. So I debated. We've had such a busy couple weeks of Auburn Experience shows that we haven't had to like scrounge for topics in Auburn potpourri. So I thought, better not. Let's just leave that one out there. It's not even that fun of a story, but yeah, I followed it. For those of you that don't know, a former Auburn football player, his wife basically put a hit on him, and it was found out through another investigation that wasn't even related down in the Bahamas, I guess. And yeah, it's a sad story, very sad story. Obviously, for a variety of reasons, hate that Auburn's in the news for that. Yes. So John, I used to do that. And because my time is better spent covering the event as opposed to getting something signed and trying to hold on to that the entire time, one day when we're a bigger operation here and I have extra help, we can obviously have someone run that for us. My actual personal thing was I used to get a signed ball, and they're actually some of the ones you see up here. That's Nick Marshall there that was actually A-Day. Most of these would probably be A-Day. But I used to, anytime the autographs were offered in a format like that, I would just go get one person to sign. Because here's the thing, folks. Let me go on a little rant for a second. The likelihood that you're going to get everybody on the team signing a ball is so low. So you got to like simplify your process. You got to get like all the wide receivers. That's much more doable. Or all the seniors, all the quarterbacks. Or for me, I would just go find one player. And if I had the opportunity, I'd get the head coach to sign because that's kind of a cool combo. So like, I don't have this signed ball in my house, but it's back at our family. My, what do you call them? Your growing up family. My mom's house, the signed ball for Gene Chizik and Cam Newton. And so that's like a cool one to have. And so I think Gus signed, you can't see it in the screen, but I'm trying to remember which one it is. I think Gus and Cameron, no, not Cameron Newton. There's the Gus and somebody else signed ball up there. But like, I've got like Nick Marshall, Derek Brown, Deshaun Davis, Jarrett Stidham, some others. Anyway, it's a good thought. It's just not something I try to worry about this time around. All right, comments and questions, get them in. We'll come back around to some of those as they come in, but I want to make sure that I get some of y'all's stuff discussed from the show. Austin's checking in. Megan Schofield is your 123rd U.S. Women's Amateur Champion. Everybody, if it wasn't raining and storming, I'm sure right now in Auburn, but it probably isn't. Go roll Toomer's Corner. We celebrate everything here. We celebrate the Auburn experience, and this is a big part of it. Congrats to Megan Schofield for representing Auburn and winning the Women's Amateur Championship. That is awesome. We talked about it in the show. So if y'all listen to that one, if you're finding the replay on this, you'll know that we were kind of hinting that was probably coming our way. That's pretty awesome there. Saban needs a toupee. Is it really that bad? I didn't know that his hair was getting that bad. You're going to be watching several games at the Southeastern Bar. Great atmosphere there. I don't frequent many bars, but I've heard that's a great place to watch the game. And listen, if tickets are going to be as hard to come by, whether it's actual availability or price, you're going to need to find places to watch games, especially if you want to come to campus and get the feel of tailgating and all that kind of stuff. So excited, folks. We're less than 3 weeks away. It's going to be fun. Like, we're going to be back together again as a family. Those of y'all that are able to come very, very soon. Does that not excite you? Like, to me, that just gets me jazzed up. Yes, we're going to be sweating, probably dodging thunderstorms. But my gosh, is it great to be an Auburn Tiger and be together again. Man, ready to go now. John says, I went to most of the home games this year. Cam played and won the championship. I went to most of the home games the year Cam played and won the championship. Yeah, that was my senior year. So my true senior year. So I got to witness it as a student in my final year. It was just, it's beautiful. When my kids get older and actually care about the team, I want to take them to Fan Day. I think that would be so fun for them. Let me make this recommendation, and this is dependent upon them returning this format to the A-Day. Because, I mean, this is granted if y'all don't move closer, Devin. But if you're still out there in Texas, I think you're okay with me revealing your state at least, you probably want to find a weekend where there's more to do than just Fan Day. Because it's like now it's for the general public, just a 1 hour event. So you probably want to come on a weekend where there's a lot to do. And usually the Fan Day is on Auburn's move-in weekend, which it was this time. And boy, is it crowded. And boy, is it hard to probably find places to stay. So just remember that. I agree. Bring them to something like that. But A-Day is probably your better event. It's probably harder to manage. It's outside, but it's spring, so you could either get hot or cold. Definitely try to get them to something. Austin says, according to the live cam, there is toilet paper in the official Toomer's oak tree. The first rolling of the Toomer's Oaks, the official rolling of the Toomer's Oaks, is by Megan Schofield. Somebody write that down. That is going to be piece of Auburn trivia history. What a cool moment, and then Austin had to ruin it with this comment. uh, I'm speechless, Austin. Y'all just read that statement. I don't even think I should have a show anymore. You even said to me, Austin, pre-show, there's something we're forgetting. So actually, I blame you. I blame you. I blame you. Simply so I don't have to take the blame on this one. I'm so ashamed. Like, we will make up for that, because I'm sure we're not going to have, well, I shouldn't say I'm sure. We're probably not going to have as many big topics. Next week, we will appease our listeners and viewers and talk about it in person next week. I am just so embarrassed. I will say, though, that we did have Clint on this week, if y'all didn't see it on the network, to discuss a little bit about that. Obviously, he has a different take on things. He's a very big history buff, and so I think you should go watch that one. But let me just sincerely apologize that Austin and I failed you tonight. The ball has been dropped. It was not a badunga dunk, apparently, as Austin said. Yeah, I don't know that, Austin, we could have not allowed that to happen, though, because boy, was that an interesting segment. It's one of those moments where people who listen to the podcast, which I'm grateful for, should watch it just for the reactions. Go to bed before you get yourself into further trouble. Yes, Dixie, that is a great thing to bring up. See, that's the brilliant thing about this time of year is there's so much happening. And so we can't cover it all in 30 minutes. And so one of the things that we ask everybody is, if you want to help support, this is another shameless plug, some of the things that we talked about, being part of our Patreon channel member here on YouTube, or one-time donation, to all those links in the description. Or if you know somebody that wants to sponsor some content here, let us know. And we may be able to start doing this more often and for longer. Shameless plug time. Tyler, you know I'm going to be at the first game. You know this already. You know me well enough to know that answer. Show's not going away. We just may have to remove ourselves from it for the shame of forgetting to talk about that. 5 to 7 home games are sold. 5 of the 7, yes. I think it's Mississippi State. No, that one may be done now. Sanford, because it's homecoming, is sold out. The first game is sold out, I believe. No, it's not UMass. So it's UMass and I guess New Mexico State, which are probably the ones that are sold out. At one point, Mississippi State was having some hard time getting tickets sold for. I'm just so flabbergasted that we forgot that. I can't even remember. Whenever I go to the games, I always get stuck conversing with the pigeons up in the nosebleed section. My tickets will not be too far away from the nosebleed section, but better there than anywhere else. And look, folks, yeah, I get the whole appeal. I saw someone posted that earlier, that I'll be watching it from the comfort of my home. Yeah, sure, that's great. But for me, I got to be in on it. The action, the sounds, the smells, every bit of the element of what happens in Jordan-Hare is worth it, even in that awful heat. So excited for it. Now, I may be singing a different tune once we get done with that game on September 2nd, 3rd, whichever one it is. Rodney, good to see you. Thanks for checking in. We're almost done here, but you can go back and watch the replay. Let's see here. What else did we miss during the show that we want to hit? Here we go. For Fan Day, an older gentleman showed up with 2 older Cadillac hubcaps to get signed. That's pretty cool. It's got a touch of the Alabama Fan Day in it, but look, I'm not going to judge when it comes to Cadillac. Yeah, Walker White's autograph would have been great to have for the future, but I'm not sure he was at that event. I guess maybe you're just saying in general. Recruiting has been going very well and is probably still going to be going well for a while. Thank you for reminding folks of that, Mr. Rodney. We always appreciate that. All right. Charcoal, I don't know if I said hi to you. Thanks for being here. Trying to see if there's anything else like big that we did not discuss from the middle of the show. I think we hit most of those topics. All right, here's what we're going to do. Last minute comments, questions, derogatory rebuttals, get them in right now. Post them right now. I won't go through the whole spiel of things again, but make sure you're here Wednesday at 8 Eastern time for the Auburn Family Night, where you can call in and we'll talk about anything. Please do join us for that. Be looking for some more videos this week. If we get a new commitment, obviously there will be one about that. And then a highlight reel from Auburn Fan Day that you won't want to miss. Some good shots from that we will be sharing shortly here. And of course, some other podcasts will be coming out this week. The No Huddle Show with AJ and Jared will be out. So be looking for that. We got listen, folks. If you need content, E2C Network's got it for you. Share the wealth, share it with a friend. Let them know this is the place where they need to come get the whole Auburn experience, not just the football, not just the sports. Apparently, badunga dunks, apparently, as Austin would say. He's not here anymore, so I can say it. Yes, Dixie, thank you for reminding me. She has reached out to me to let me know that you guys, if you're interested in working some of the games as an event staff, you can check them out and be part of that. It's a great way to come into the game and work, but also be in the game. It's a great thing that you could consider doing if you're having a hard time getting tickets, hard time finding or affording tickets. You can actually make some money and be in Jordan-Hare. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Talking football is the best, but so is the rest of it too. Just talking about Auburn's the best. I think Charcoal's talking about Kamarian Franklin. Is that who we're talking about, Charcoal? I think so. It sounds pretty good. That one, of course, we thought Flory Badunga was going to be committing, and yeah. What is going to come first? Upgrades to baseball field or the football field? Well, the baseball's already been announced on the books, so it's going to be the baseball upgrades. Now, depends on what the upgrades would be for football that they're going to announce. My gut tells me that what's going to be coming is going to require phases a lot like baseball. So that's an easy question for me. For me personally, Corey, to answer is that the baseball ones will be started because they already are, and be done before the football ones. My guess is they are waiting to see how this season goes, the viability of the program under Hugh Freeze. And once that takes place and they probably prioritize their other things, I think softball is probably due for an addressing of some things too. Beard Eves is not long for this world from what I understand. I think that's going to open up some opportunities for other athletic facilities, parking. So to answer your question, baseball. Each tree at the end of the gate going towards Sanford Hall has a little toilet paper on it now. Saw it just now as tumors. We got somebody live. Yes. You know what that's for? For Megan Schofield, Auburn golfer, just won the U.S. Women's Amateur. We are an everything school, folks. Yeah, we haven't really talked about that the whole lot. Like I said, it's one of those topics that got hit to the curb with all the stuff that we've had to talk about here. We just apologize for failing about the whole Tumors Corner thing, which is why I'm glad I talked to Clint earlier about it. What happened to the white pants that has a sharp in at the bottom? They wore them for, I don't know. That's a Clint Richardson question. Rodney, make sure you come back for the next time we have him on. I don't know when that'll be, but I'm sure it'll be soon-ish, and we can ask him that question. That's your go-to guy for that. William asked the big question. Will Auburn be number one? They're always number one because we're the best that ever has been and ever will be, no matter what happens on the courts, on the fields, in the arenas, on the track, out in the water for bass fishing team. We are number one. And that's it. Joe, what time do they open locker room Fridays before the game? We don't know yet, Joe. Typically, they have done that. I think it's usually 4 to 6, usually p.m. Central Time, the Fridays before the home games. Will that be the same this year? I don't know. Obviously, new year, new regime, and not that really affects them in any way because they'll be gone to their hotel for the evening. But yeah, so just be staying tuned for that, and we'll see when that gets updated. Thank you, sir, for watching. We appreciate it so much. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here. Hope to see y'all on Wednesday evening. Stay tuned to E2C Network all week here on YouTube, on the podcast, especially on social media. Don't miss any content that we got coming out for you. Football is getting closer and closer. Soccer will be here this week. Volleyball right around the corner. Cross country around the corner. Women's basketball is playing right now. People are moving in. School is starting. If you can't find something to get excited about in the Auburn experience, I don't even know why you're here, but I'm glad you are. So thank you guys so much for being here and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. Until we talk to you again, War Eagle.